there we go. Let me know when you're sharing your screen. Oh, there we go. Awesome. So what so none of you guys are being recorded except me, so I have to explain so people aren't confused. But basically what we're going to walk through is like the full flow of a front end communicating to a back end. So we can see where the rec.body or even maybe rec.params comes from. And we can look at those things and see what they're doing. So why don't we first walk through our server, and then let's walk through the we'll go through the front end from there. So what route are we going to be using today? What are we working on? That's fine. Okay, awesome. And so let's take a look at the control.addUser function. Awesome. So we're expecting a user email, user password, first name, and last name from the rec.body. And this is something that we had we figured out what problem we had earlier. If you put single quotes around your string literals on the values, so around the whole thing. Yep, single quotes around each one of those. Excellent. All right. Now, okay, so let's refocus here. So we're getting things from the rec.body. These are inputs that we're expecting from a user. We're expecting the request.body object to have a property called user underscore email, user underscore password, first underscore name, last underscore name. So a property on an object, right? And we are going to then run a SQLize.query. We're going to insert into the users table, into the column email underscore user, password, first name, last name, the values that the users put in. And then we will take that response, give a res.status to 100 and send index 0. So we're going to, on the front end, we have this component. This is React now that we're messing with. We have a function called new user, and this is going to be a post request, which is matching. If we go back to our index.js, we know that it needs to be a post because in our index.js file, we have a post written for this route. Now, the other thing is we're currently saying we're defining exactly where this is being, right? We're saying http://localhost. We're saying exactly where this port is, and we're saying API/user. And we're going to send, and we just have a comma after post. Post is a function that accepts 2 arguments. So go ahead and highlight the first argument, which is our string, right? This is the route that post needs to go to. And then we have the option to send other stuff, whatever we want. So go ahead and highlight the second argument. Yeah. So this is the entire post function, those 2 arguments. This is the second argument. We just put in curly braces to represent the body. There's other ways to do this. We could use the data tag, but this is what I find is the most simple way to pass something on the body. So we just make an object, basically. We define the properties, so user underscore email, user underscore password, and you'll notice that these are exactly the word for word what the controller.js was looking for on the rec.body, right? It's saying, hey, there should be something called user underscore email. Well, we're defining that in our front end. The front end is saying, hey. Now, also, we're not going over this, but you have user email, user pass, first name, last name as variables, which are being saved to state here. Above, you have on 7 through 10. You're saving those values. You probably have, as they type into those boxes, yeah, these handle changes. Good, awesome, yeah, and then once this whole thing happens, right? So Axios.post fires, then our route fires in index.js, and then add user is the function that runs, and then we come back to the front end and we say we're going to .then, we're going to run this function, which is going to just send an alert, and it's going to send the res.data up. Awesome. So is our front end and back end currently running? Let's go ahead and restart our back end real fast. I just want to double check. Yeah, it's running. Awesome. Cool. Let's go to the front end and see if it works. See if it's breaking. So we can go to our React. Yep, we'll type in an email. Oh, you're good. All right, what happened? Oh, we're going to check the database. Nice. All right. Did we get an error in the terminal? But we don't have listening. It's still, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, this is the last thing that happened. We have executing. That's interesting. Let's try, hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably what it was. Go ahead and kill your node real fast. Let's take a look, and it looks like all of our data is there. I don't know why it's stuck in executing almost. There we go. Interesting. Let's refresh the database again. Did it do anything in the database? PG, if you want to go to PG Web, let's just see if. Ah, so it probably did run then. Let's try it again. Yeah, I think it's working. I thought it was still trying to execute because of the word executing, but I think it I think it just worked. So, all right. S yeah. Yeah, oh, go ahead. The error that Yeah, there hasn't been changes to our server, which doesn't restart it. So I think SQLite just automatically console logs what's happening. It's very similar to like Morgan, um, which would just kind of show you the different requests that are being made. So it's not anything. Yeah, it's just kind of you could use chalk. Yeah, exactly. Um, so yeah, so that's working. All we need to, if you guys wanted to look at a request, to see that body that is on that, all you need to do is console log rec, and you guys can actually see a request object, and it's huge. I think I had you have one still, right? A file. Yeah, why don't you open up that file? It's in your server. Yeah. Yeah, let's open for sure. Yeah. So what I had Callan do once is I had her console log it and then copy it all and put it in a file, because like I said before, it's really hard to read all this in a terminal. It doesn't tell us very much. So let's go ahead and like go to the very top and let's collapse things. The high, like not the highest, but yeah. So these are all the properties that are on an and on a request. And if you collapse all these, it gets really small pretty fast. So the request has, all of these properties that we're currently seeing are the top level, right? If we could open them up and make them bigger, but we don't want to. But one of these to keep in mind is body. It's on 611, and it's currently empty because this is an old request. It's not inside of the route we just made. But if we were console logging the request in the route we just made, we would see the user underscore email, the user underscore password, the first name underscore that we defined actually right to your left, actually, on line 13, that axios.post. Everything in that object that we just defined is now in the body of this request. So that's where we're defining it. And technically, we can define all sorts of things on this request. We can change and like many of these different things here that we're not really gonna need to mess with. But you might add stuff as a query um, in the query section, or the params later might be something that you use, passing something on params. I think that I usually use params for or queries for editing or deleting. I agree with that. Maybe even to access a specific thing, I might use it. All right. So any questions? The single quotes. Yeah. Yeah. It's so annoying. Remember, if you remember back to PG Web, if you tried doing the basically everything that you're sending back is a JSON, right? It's in double quotes. Um, and in fact, if you console logged the request, you'd see that. And so what we're doing with a string literal is we're literally pasting that into our 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 body object. And those double quotes in a SQL query mean something else. It's like a column. It means access this column, which we don't want. We want to pass in a string. And remember, for queries, we can only have the single quotes. Single quotes allow us to pass in strings for queries. So that's what SQLize was doing, and that's why we were having a problem with it. Yeah, for sure. So single quotes around your string literals. I think that's what they're called, right? String literals. I keep calling them that. Uh, yeah, I'm looking at it. Template literals. Template strings. Yeah, template literal. So template literals are template strings, not string literals. I do have a hybrid going. That's funny.